That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not.
That is LNS, dude.
Well, if there's like...
Look at that thing!
It's rotated.
Okay, should I do it? Oh, okay, we ready? First name Heather, last name Warren Crow, email Heather Warren Crow at gmail.com, subject information about a case, choose your neighborhood, your message, to whom it may concern, colon. I am writing in hopes of locating the police officer in charge of my case, comma, an assault from June 2018 period, while standing on a sidewalk outside a university library, comma, I was suddenly hit in the head, comma, with a closed fist, comma, by a male passerby, period. Although I appeared at the time to be without significant injury, comma, due to my ability to narrate the event without confusion, comma, the assault gave me a concussion, period. This mild traumatic brain injury, open parentheses, MTI, close parentheses, continues to cause me problems with ocular vertigo, comma, depth motion perception, comma, and the separation of from background sound in loud, sonically dense environments, period. It's really hard to do because of the audio feedback. Okay, I'm going to continue. This man is violent, dangerous, semicolon. I am hoping he was located and arrested, period. Unfortunately, I lost the business card of the officer in charge of the investigation, period. I live out of the country and can't visit in person, period. Your website is thoroughly confusing, semicolon. I can't even figure out the name of the appropriate police station to call it directly, period. I was on the campus of the university, but the case was handled not by university, but by city police, period. Could you please send me the name and phone number address of some investigation, This is the second online contact form I have filled out in the past 2 months, period. The form indicated that my message will be forwarded to the unit concerned, processed during business hours, period. I was never contacted, I would like to be contacted, even if it is just to tell me that there has been progress with my case, period. Sincerely, Heather Warren Crow. Recaptcha. Privacy terms. I'm not a robot. Send. Okay, I think that was good.
I remember so many stories that my dad told me about how he and his family would go every summer up to Michigan to work in the farms, and then they would travel back to San Antonio. And lately, I've been hearing the word migrant a lot to describe an immigrant, undocumented worker, seasonal worker. So I was getting a little confused. What does the word migrant mean? So I decided to look up the definition. What is a migrant?
I think of someone that moves to a different place for better opportunity, to seek a better life. So that could be like for a job, or you could be traveler, getting a better education.
I really just think of someone who's moving,
Someone who moves from place to place.
someone who has not just one home, but like many
Just the
homes.
political atmosphere of this country at the moment, and with everything in the news, people really associate anything migrants having to do with immigrants specifically.
Sufferer.
If we're going down to the root of the definition of the word, we're all migrants in a way.
I guess for a migrant, it could be a necessity or a want.
Migrants versus people that are moving for, pilots, tech professionals, everyone has a motive, whether it be not just a job for money and financial reasons, but seeking more opportunity or a better lifestyle.
What's the difference between an immigrant and a migrant?
One's like entering another country, one's leaving their own, right?
Oh. Immigrant. I mean, migration is is it like forced migration, right? Like the birds migrating south, right? To survive.
Okay, so we are migrants.
When we think of migrants, we think of like people of color or people who are fleeing somewhere because of war brought on by like Western countries. But then that's not true. It's like everyone's a migrant. And then it's like when people who fear who face retribution because of their like immigration status, it's usually brown people but not white people, and they're just assumed to belong anywhere Yeah, I just got my green card yesterday.
People have a lot of resentment towards immigrants.
I feel like at this point, if someone can't conceptualize the idea of everyone being even like the playing field.
Yes, you can be privileged and still travel for different needs in your life, but it's definitely going to be completely different than other people traveling for life or death. You can still have that sense of migrant.
I just feel like there's a lot of stigma with the word migrant.
So I think people are hesitant just because, depending on where they fall, politically, they don't want to offend anyone. People don't know the true definition of migrant. To them, migrant and immigrant is equivalent, whereas migrant's an umbrella term, and immigrants falls under that umbrella, but so does pretty much all of us as we move for schooling, for jobs.
And somehow we have stigmatized it and politicized it to mean something much heavier.
I mean, it's such a broad word, because if you look at the dictionary, it's moving from one place to another, right?
It's just such a fine line, and we don't want to offend anyone, and we're afraid of sometimes having those conversations that are tough.
I mean, I think the modern connotation of migrant is somebody who has endured hardship, as opposed to somebody who buys a plane ticket and moves willfully from one place to the other. But the notion of immigrant, we're constantly trying to remind each other that we're all immigrants, right? This whole country is based on immigration. Migrant has been not corrupted, but changed in a way, yeah. Or that it's only associated with a certain kind of people or a certain color skin. Yeah, that makes total sense. Wonderful. We're all migrants. Yeah.
I completely understand, because when I moved from Mexico to United States was as equally as hard from when I moved from Texas to New York City.
And I think it will make me a better person. Like, I really do.
I was kind of excited, though. I felt like it was like an adventure.
I was more excited than anything, because in Mexico we view America as being like the land of opportunity, like this perfect place.
Well, it's scary. And my parents were like, okay, it looks like we're sticking around. And then my father came home and he said, we have to move to Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
So it was always like constant, like not knowing what was going to be in the future. Because one day we could be living in this beautiful house in Houston, and the next day we could go back to Mexico, or we could move to New York City. It's always a constant, like, what's going to happen.
Learning like a whole new type of culture or lifestyle just in a different state or even a different coast, or moving from, Massachusetts Northeast to a completely different climate would be great.
That's my dream. Get out there.
I'd be okay with going anywhere.
Yeah, I'd like to move to London.
Well, I came here initially because I knew I wanted to experience somewhere that wasn't home.
If I'm going to be a conceptual migrant, I'm going to work, but also have some time for like self-discovery.
Oh, I want to go live in Europe. for some time, maybe like work in like an organization there doing economics. I don't know exactly what country. I just want to travel a lot. I think there's a lot to learn in the world about different cultures and stuff.
You're not living life to the fullest if you're not seeing everything that life has to offer you.
It's like an itch to see the world.
Being away from such a secure environment that I was so used to really forced me to find out a lot about myself.
For me, I think that's one of the most beautiful things in life.
Stepped out of the airport and I was like, this is where I need to be. I could move to DC or I could move to South Africa, then I guess that would solidify me as a migrant. I plan to be a conceptual migrant all my life.
I consider myself a conceptual migrant.
I am a conceptual migrant.
I believe that I'm a conceptual migrant.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely dreaming of being a conceptual migrant.
Yes, I would consider myself a conceptual migrant.
I am a conceptual migrant.
I am a conceptual migrant.
I am a conceptual migrant.
I guess how I felt or feel currently when I don't usually confront my parents or my mom about certain things is very silenced. I guess I don't really have a voice with it at my house. We don't talk about it. So it just goes unheard. I don't feel like myself when I go. I feel like a version of myself, but not fully actualized version of myself where I can talk about who I am and like what I do and everything else. I just feel like I can't do that and it feels suffocating and I want to get out of it as soon as possible. It's such an interesting dichotomy because I'm in a place where I am accepted, free to be who I am and have this accepting family, but also have this dismissive nature to that accepting family. An interesting dynamic that I don't know how to navigate, so I take myself out of it so that I don't have to be in that dynamic anymore. I do feel shushed in that environment. I feel like I'm being shushed by my parents, specifically my mother, and sometimes by my sister as well. It just makes me sad, honestly, almost disappointed to see my family members are real people too, and they just dismiss things that they don't really want to talk about. I have a voice, and I want people to hear it. I want people to hear my opinions. I want people who don't usually hear my opinions to hear that, to have a dialogue with me and have open conversation. It doesn't have to pertain to myself or like my sexuality. It can be upon anything. It can be about peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I don't care. As long as I get to like share that opinion, then that's fine. That's sharing a part of myself. I want that with my family. I don't have anyone to go to talk about those issues with, and it's hard. Don't shush me. It's not respectful, honestly. Yeah, if you're not actively listening to somebody that you're having a conversation with, it just doesn't make sense. Let me speak. I'll give you the same respect. If you let me talk, I'll let you talk and I'll listen. Don't let me not voice my opinion.
Let me speak. It is intellectual violence when you shush people, and you don't allow for people to share their side. I have a lot to say, and I deserve to be heard. When she let that horrible and vile word slip out of her mouth, immediately I felt suffocated by the sound, and I couldn't speak. I barely even could gasp as I was processing what she said. I almost thought to myself that maybe I misheard her. Maybe I'm making up things, because how could someone say something so disgusting in front of a person of colors? And once realizing that she actually did say that word and I wasn't making up things, silence filled the space because I felt so unsafe in that environment. And she completely stripped that trust and safety away by saying that word. Don't take my ability to challenge you. I felt as though I had to escape, and so I couldn't speak. Don't take away my ability to speak out. Also have been almost trained to challenge the stereotype of being the angry black woman. So sometimes I almost feel like I can't show true anger if I even have it. I want to prove them wrong. I definitely feel that you do have to be a better person when confronting people that aren't being the best that they can be. I have to be the better person for them.
When you open up Google, you don't know what to ask when faced with the self. Within this infinite possibility, there's a void we want to fill. And I have a void down to the bottom of my toes. This is the romance of seeking. O ancient search engine, O beautiful click bar, a semi-godlike flowing wave of knowledge. Bring me 2 cats having sex. No, no. Bring me somebody getting killed? No. Maybe I'd like to see myself. What do I see when I look at myself? Insert green screen. This is myself. Not what I was expecting. One time, I looked up Ramana Maharishi and saw that when he was 17, he laid down on the floor and felt himself go through the cycles of death. Nothing was strange about that day. Maybe it was slightly cloudy, but he got down on the floor and he died. He said goodbye to his life, his family, his personality, and when he got up off the floor, he was reborn. Let me try it myself. Can you help me? When you eat an apple slowly, it becomes a marshmallow. Am I dead yet? All I can think about right now is a dog wearing high heels. The cops might come and ask me questions if I don't get up. When you open up Google, you don't know what to ask when faced with the self. Within this infinite possibility, there's a void we want to fill. And I have a void down to the bottom of my toes. This is the romance of seeking. O ancient search engine, O beautiful click bar, a semi-godlike flowing wave of knowledge. Bring me 2 cats having sex. No, no. Bring me somebody getting killed? No. Maybe I'd like to see myself. What do I see when I look at myself? Insert green screen. This is myself. Not what I was expecting. One time, I looked up Ramana Maharishi and saw that when he was 17, he laid down on the floor and felt himself go through the cycles of death. Nothing was strange about that day. Maybe it was slightly cloudy, but he got down on the floor and he died. He said goodbye to his life, his family, his personality, and when he got up off the floor, he was reborn. Let me try it myself. Can you help me? When you eat an apple slowly, it becomes a marshmallow. Am I dead yet? All I can think about right now is a dog wearing high heels. The cops might come and ask me questions if I don't get up. When you open up Google, you don't know what to ask when faced with the self. Within this infinite possibility, there's a void we want to fill. And I have a void down to the bottom of my toes. This is the romance of seeking. O ancient search engine, O beautiful click bar, a semi-godlike flowing wave of knowledge. Bring me 2 cats having sex. No, no. Bring me Somebody getting killed? No. Maybe I'd like to see myself. What do I see when I look at myself? Insert green screen. This is myself. Not what I was expecting. One time, I looked up Ramana Maharishi and saw that when he was 17, he laid down on the floor and felt himself go through the cycles of death. Nothing was strange about that day. Maybe it was slightly cloudy, but he got down on the floor and he died. He said goodbye to his life, his family, his personality, and when he got up off the floor, he was reborn. Let me try it myself. Can you help me? When you eat an apple slowly, it becomes a marshmallow. Am I dead yet? All I can think about right now is a dog wearing high heels. The cops might come and ask me questions if I don't get up.
Floating with, floating with, floating with, floating with. Who am I? What am I? That space of wanting to die and the fear of coming together again. A worthless commodity to be swallowed whole, consumed by sleep, immobile. A being. I am a being. Empty. Judged. Watched. Hollow. Floating. The space of wanting to die. The fear of coming tethered again. The hermit came to me in a dream, and he told me, the life you live has just begun.
"4'6".
Like all of her facial features kind of just came to a point.
And we started a punk rock band after that.
And for some reason,
It's like 5'8", 5'9".
Tree.
and pine trees.
Is a Greek, like a Greek Byzantine.
And here
4'6".
is the edge of the pool.
Just be home. Obviously.
But I had this red, silky kind of little.
To do her makeup. Like 1 hour on each eye.
She messed up. You have to do it all over again. He didn't have any depth perception, which means that like he couldn't actually see the ball coming closer to him, or tell how far away it was. So like when she walked around, she just kind of
Eyes on it.
Smaller frame.
and then in the middle school, he was always moping around.
Yeah, he was my best.
He used to joke
About your nipples and the size, and if they were compare them to coins
or dark jeans.
And he was really tall and skinny.
Is there a way to not autoplay Story's Instagram? Is it okay to eat green bananas? Is unrefined sugar better for you? Is Hydro Flask a thing? Is it okay to work out before breakfast? Are there low sodium pickles? Are any United States colleges refunding tuition? Are electronics stores open? Is Strega tomorrow? Is Linda the Good Witch or Princess? Are dog groomers open? Are dog groomers open in Texas?
Are you afraid of the dark 2019? Is South Pasadena in Los Angeles County? Is it okay to link phone number TikTok? Are ascending and rising the same? Is Channing Tatum bisexual? Is Scotch and cola a thing? Are there pores on your lips? Is avocado seed edible? Is Point Break one shot? Is Vertigo misogynist? Is Lil Wayne a Republican? Is there cheese you don't need the right of?
Are Apple retail stores open? Is bread bad for dogs? Is ranch dressing supposed to taste like dill? Is chickpea pasta good for diabetics? Is drip outfit or jewelry? Are Nintendo Switches sold out? Is the Rift S outside in or inside out? Is Vive Cosmos Elite more precise than Rift S? Is the Vive Pro discontinued? Are there lemons in Mexico? Are there scorpions in San Antonio?
Is Bill and Ted a stoner movie? Are Bill and Ted stoners? Is it appropriate to email Professor PhD program? Are Michael's framing sales worth it? Are education PhDs funded? Is Le Creuset stoneware dishwasher safe? Is regular tomato paste double concentrated? Is Twine JavaScript? Is Kava gluten-free? Is sparkling wine gluten-free? Is Aperol gluten-free? Is cut cabbage edges okay to eat?
Is chartreuse a genepi? Is crate training bad? Is sorbet gay? Is signs a comedy? Are air conditioner and thermostat usually on the same circuit? Are you supposed to fry tortillas for enchiladas? Is there a way to see how processing's core library functions? Is JavaScript static or dynamic? Is calling Cubans conservative racist? Is it safe to get a haircut?
Is it weird to get your PhD from your undergrad school? Are refurbished Bose headphones good? Is the Hokey Pokey a line dance? Are you the one? Are you the one season 8? Is it hard to move with a dog? Are there PPO in Texas? Is outdoor dining safe? Is warm port a thing? Is a Wagyu rib roast worth it? Is pot filler hot or cold?
Forgive. Forgive. Because of love, I thrive. For love, I suffer. Because of love, I thrive. Because of love, I thrive. Because of love, I thrive.
Looking at these photographs, I can see how history is a recurring theme in the work that I do. History, not in the traditional sense, where you find it in textbooks or archives, but instead thinking of history through material. Visible wear and tear, tactile, and even ephemeral. Architectural structures, whether formal or informal, that weather and age with time and under external conditions or forces. Infrastructure that serves as skeleton or backbone to a place, or a network that connects a series of places. Structures and infrastructure that at one point were in their prime, top-tier technology and architecture, not just in their face value, but in the labor and therefore capital they produced, housed, or sheltered, oftentimes outliving generations of people directly involved with them, rusting, degrading, becoming remnants of the past, outdated, useless, obsolescent, but even so, embodying merely just a fragment of time, only to be outlived by the land on which they exist and inhabit. Land that outlives not only generations, but societies and even geological epochs. These images make me think about obsolescence, in some ways even mortality. And this could be seen as metaphor for human existence, for physical human bodies, and specifically within a capitalist framework, where we exist and have a function until you can't function. You cease to exist and become a sort of burden to society. Though things, physical things, do fade and sometimes are even lost for good, there are non-physical things, immaterial things, that do continue to exist, that get carried on and passed down generations. Things such as music and dance, or a very obvious one for me is cooking. Everyday activities that are very much embedded in our being, that play a large role in our forming of cultural identities. They are so routine we may even take them for granted, but they are evidence of how we have been shaped and continue to be shaped over time. Those who have aged before us may not bear witness nor reap the material fruit of their labor, but instead, as repositories of experience and wisdom, they pass that wealth down as an inheritance for posterity, enabling continued resistance, digression, and transgression, expanding its reach over time and distance through this phenomenon known as diaspora. As we see evident in these images, our impermanence is inevitable. To claim ownership or carve out physical space is as temporary as the lives that we lead. No one structure, building, or house will last forever, yet the bonds that we build and the interactions we exchange within them have a deeper and far more lasting influence, allowing for our understanding of home to go beyond simply being something delineated, fixed, or concrete, but rather propagating home as open, permeable, itinerant, and metaphysical. I always find it so ridiculous how people take pictures of what they eat. I mean, I love food too, don't get me wrong, but all the food porn on Facebook and Instagram is overwhelming, especially when they're shitty pictures of normal stuff. But I guess everyone experiences various foods in different ways. I, for one, can't get enough of rice and beans. It's all I've eaten since I was a kid. The most basic of foods and staples in Caribbean cuisine. Being so far away, it's what I miss most. The food, the smells, the flavors. Going to the market and being able to find fresh fruits and vegetables that smell without you having to cut into them. Fresh bread and tortillas warm in your hands. Fresh cheese and cream, soft and buttery. And a butcher who knows exactly how to cut your meat and even throws in a little extra for free. Then there's the process of cooking. Limon, chile, cebolla y ajo. Lemon, chili peppers, onion, and garlic. That's what my grandma says is the secret to cooking. You marinate your meat or your fish in citrus juices, chili peppers, onion, garlic, herbs, and spices. The hour or two before dinner was always a busy time. I can picture it in my head right now, my appetite warming up, as my mom or my aunt chopped away with the novela playing on the TV in the background, and my grandma arguing with the antagonist, or really just the screen of the TV, as if the actor or the actress were a real person. and my brother and cousins running around since they had no access to the TV at that time. Looking back, it's such a surreal environment, with a crazy combination of smells and noises. But that was home, and no matter how annoying it would get sometimes, you knew something rewarding was soon to come. Unless, of course, Mom would get sucked into the melodramatic soap opera and forget whatever she had on the stove. That's exactly how things did get burned from time to time. But no matter what, we would always eat the food, because we had no other choice, and in the end, she always found a way to salvage the situation. And at the dinner table, it was sacred. We had to pray for our food, keep our elbows off the table, and eat with a fork or a spoon and not our hands. Of course, Grandma did whatever she wanted. She would eat with her hands and say how things taste better when you eat with your hands. She would also scrape the bottom of the pan with scraps of tortilla and talk about how the leftovers were always the best part of the dish. I completely agree with her, and I'd be lying if I say I don't do any of those. Even my mom does it now, and sometimes my brother, but I can't tell if I do it to rebel against set standards, or if it's genuine, or if I do it as a way to remember, or maybe it's a bit of all of those things. And then I wonder if maybe that's what Grandma was doing all along. I look at these pictures, and as shady and cliche as they are, they do make me realize the value of cooking and sharing a meal, the labor, love, and care that goes into it, the history, hybridity, and complexity of the recipes, and the power and agency they possess. Because as individual ingredients, they're just that, but as a collective, they can amalgamate to something more.
work. I mean, it's
Does it make a difference what kind of feel? What kind of? I wonder.
I think this is actually a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
it's not one piece though. It's braided. I wonder if that makes a difference.
Yeah. And then what?
Videos, photographs. So. I don't know.
I think this even carries more.
Maybe so. Yeah. No idea.
is one sane person.
Our bodies carry within them an ocean, a looping swell of salt. The moon watches over our smooth faces, tucks us into our skin at night, licks the earth like it's one big envelope. When I feel my body like the ocean, the breath swells and rises. A wave rushes in through my throat, pouring down into my lungs. And then the wave rolls out, sea foam tingling through my nose. With each breath, our bodies resurrect themselves, the ocean constantly resurrecting itself through our eyes, through our eye sockets, through our little tear duct glands, so sweet, so tender. And just like a bird eats a seed, digests it, and shits it out, and it grows into a tree again. My body, the ocean, fluidly sings itself back into existence.
Ocean, 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 ocean. Ocean, 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 ocean.
In a time before the microscope, men thought strange things. They couldn't really see, and they spoke in long sentences. And Aristotle thought that eels came from earthworms. From cutting open the belly of the earth, the mud mixing with the breath of the moon. And these origins would allow eels to spray forth at an alarming rate. You see, eels are secretive beings of the ocean, just as we are secretive beings of the land, and nobody could find an eel's genitals, their juicy organs, and Aristotle was puzzled. He thought, And so, just as the earth springs forth out of nothing, animals were often thought to spring forth out of nothing. Spontaneous generation, spontaneous generation, spontaneous generation. Pliny the Elder, he said, undulating eels scrape their bodies against the rocks, liberating particles that become eels. As if the eel were made of a soft stone, carved from the mud and mouth of a river. Mimicking my flesh, but slippery, so slippery, they evaded understanding, just as the origin of our breath evades understanding. Other men would think about spontaneous generation and they would say things like this. Let it be sung to you. I will translate afterwards.
Anchovies originated from the foam of the sea.
Anchovies originated from the foam of the sea.
Female mouse could become pregnant simply by licking salt.
A female mouse could become pregnant simply by licking salt.
One more.
Snakes come from the marrow of the human spine.
Snakes come from the marrow of the human spine. Why the ocean? Why eels? Why the earth in its circular skin? Why do I continue to breathe as if connected to some great lung? Why the ocean? Why the ocean? Why do I continue to breathe as if connected to some great lung? Why do I connected to some great lung to breathe as if connected to some great lung?
At this point, I dissolve like water into water. I have visions of everybody I have ever known being born from a river, gestated and then birthed, dried off and sent to walk about and sing. And while I laugh obliquely at these men without their microscopes, at the idea that something can come from an unobservably small something in my heart always ends with us arising out of a gaping hole, a void, a nothingness, being dried off and sent to swim through the air.
What I cannot see, I feel. How truly strange it is to be here. The mystery never leaves you.